In the studio, I'm delighted to be joined by my guest, Chloe Dobbs, the political commentator, who will be going through some more stories. But before we get, I just thought I'd share a text here from Mike in Sussex, who has a 6-point plan on how to fix Britain. 1, control mass uncontrolled immigration. 2, reduce bills. That includes energy, food, council tax, fuel and other utilities. 3, end unfairness. Those that work seem to be unfairly impacted. 4, fix health care. Doctors are too slow and dentists are too expensive. 5, get tough on law and order. It's a criminal safe haven out there. And 6, he says maybe this should be 1, Labour have to go and introduce proportional representation. Okay, Mike, well, there we go. We've got your plan. If you're planning to run, Mike, we'll look for your literature in the coming days ahead. But you can make sure you call us on 0344 499 1000. Text the word TALK to start your message to 87222 and follow us on and message us on X at TalkTV. Please make sure you do get in touch with our question of the day, which is simple. How do we repair Britain's broken social fabric? We had a good chat in the first segment there with Chloe. We now go back to her again on the next story, which is Wes Streeting's very, very cross. He tried all the social media videos he could. He's tried to get round the table. To be fair, he has appeared to be proactive. I think he was even briefing an idea where he'd reduce the pension contribution made, but that would enable a pay increase that would not require new money. An idea out the box, something that I think is certainly worth considering. But he is obviously, understandably, furious, and the public are furious as well, at reckless NHS doctors who are going to spend 5 days on strike, showing a complete disdain for patients, operations cancelled. And this is all over the fact that after Labour came in and gave their £9.5 billion public sector pay rise straight off the bat, having told us there's a £22 billion black hole they didn't know how to fill, that they've and which was therefore equated to a 22% pay rise for doctors. Doctors have said, no, that's not enough. We need another 29%. Do you think there's going to be much sympathy out there for doctors this time?
I don't think so. I mean, people are absolutely furious, and I understand why Wes Streeting would be furious, because I think he's one of the only people in Cabinet that I've got some time for. I think a lot of people recognise, he seems like he's got his head screwed on more than the rest of them, and he seems to be willing to try some innovative ideas to try and sort out the NHS, or at least make some progress on it. And he has started to make some progress on some things. I mean, the waiting lists, they are starting to come down a bit. They're still much higher than pre-pandemic levels, but he's excited to crack on. And then this is just an absolute nightmare. I mean, this will make the waiting list skyrocket up again, having more and more appointments and operations cancelled. And they got the highest pay rise of all the public sector workers. They got a huge pay increase. And I understand they may say this isn't in line with what we earned in real terms in 2008, and there is a chance that some of them, they're going to go off to work in Australia and instead. I get that, but be realistic, people, and also recognise you're not just working any job. You are working a job where patients' lives and well-being is reliant on you turning up to work. This doesn't come with no consequences. And I think that I understand that doctors, they train for a very long time, they have huge student debts and whatnot to qualify to get to that position. But also one of the reasons why you go into that job is to help people and to protect people's lives. I think that just walking out wanting another huge pay rise after you had 22% and then another 5.4% just kind of says to the public, we don't care about your health and well-being. There will be people who have waited ages and ages and ages for some operation who are going to find out that it's cancelled this week, who are just going to have absolutely no sympathy whatsoever. We're in a situation where you've got more and more people asking for more and more money from the state, whether it's for jobs, whether it's for benefits, or whatever it is. But we cannot keep going down this road of keep taxing, keep spending, keep taxing, keep spending. The economy's, shrinking or not growing very much at all. We need to start growing the economy first, and then when tax receipts go up, maybe in a few years' time, you can ask for another pay rise and we'll see if it's possible. But for now, it's just completely unfathomable.
For those economists, it's almost like we need a President Millet kind of approach, where he did very honestly say to the public that he was going to make some dramatic spending cuts in order to get finances back under control. A lot of people said this would bring Argentina to its knees, and lo and behold, they've had consecutive months of budget surpluses, economic growth at around 5%, and they think poverty did tick up initially to around 50%, now down to 33% within a year, and obviously steadily declining further. More rents prices down due to deregulation regulating that market and obviously opening himself up for a more free trading nation. I think it is about politicians just being brave enough to be honest with the trade-offs. I mean, to say here, we've got polling in The Sun today that says that the public, only 33% of the public are now backing the doctor strikes. That's down from 40% when previously polled in May. And Mr. Wes Streeting here, the Secretary of State for Health and Social Care, quoted in The Sun as saying, after a 28.9% pay hike in the last 3 years and the highest pay rise in the public sector 2 years in a row, strike action shows a complete disdain for patients and the recovery of the NHS. And like you, I have a lot of time for Wes Streeting. I think a lot of people didn't think Labour ministers would be willing to be quite so punchy in their language when it came to dealing with the trade unions. But I think it also just goes to show that when Labour were harping on from the sidelines in opposition at the Tory, then Conservative-led government about, oh, just get round the table and negotiate, it isn't always that simple.
No, it's not, especially when you're dealing with the BMA, who they just can't negotiate, they can't find a middle ground. They're just like, give us this huge pay rise or else we're just going to strike the whole time. I think it's pretty abhorrent what they're doing to patients by not just accepting the huge pay rise that they have already got. Wes Streeting understandably furious, and the thing is Wes Streeting has said you're harming this fixing of the NHS that we're trying to do. And whenever I speak to the few doctors I know, it seems like their biggest qualm with their job is not their pay packet, but it's the fact that when they go to work, they're all running around like headless chickens, insanely stressed, working way too many hours, and that the system is just so broken that it makes their jobs a nightmare. If they worked with Wes Streeting to help get the NHS back in line, bring the waiting lists down and whatnot, that would probably make their jobs better than a pay packet increase, in my opinion.
No, I think you're right. And before we go to the break, obviously yesterday we had this shadow government reshuffle, should I say. Kemi Badenoch announcing a sort of a new lineup. The big announcement being James Cleverly, leadership contender against Miss Badenoch last summer, is come back from the backbenches. He's now going to be opposite Angela Rayner as the Shadow Secretary of State for Communities, Housing and Local Government. And he's already having quite an interesting time. Mr. Cleverly's been out on the airwaves today and he's been trying to explain how he has previously said, only as last week, that he did not think leaving the ECHR was some sort of silver bullet. He previously, when he ran for the leadership, said that he don't think we need to leave the ECHR at all. Kemi Badenoch has obviously got this review underway to launch by the time of Tory party conference to say whether or not the party will adopt what it now essentially is reforms policy of leaving the European Convention of Human Rights. Is this just going to end in disaster? Because Mr. Cleverly's saying that if the decision comes back that we should, he will abide by it. But abiding by something doesn't sound like he believes in it. And when the Conservative Party is trying to rebuild trust, it's going to be hard for the public to believe someone who's been so openly opposed to leaving will actually do it if push came to shove and he were in power.
Yeah, it's like when, as we've tried to in the past, have Remainers running the show when we're trying to leave the European Union, and they say, oh yes, we're going to honour the result of the vote, but they don't properly believe in it. They don't completely understand what the public want out of it. I think there are going to be a lot of people who are concerned that this is the Tory party moving more to the centre, not addressing not being bold enough on immigration. But on the other hand, there will be people saying, oh, you win from the centre. I know George Osborne, after the general election, was advising them you need to move back to the centre, and you can't really out Farage, so maybe copying reform isn't the trick that they want to try. The one upshot of this is that James Cleverly, he is quite a good communicator, and so having him rolled out, going on the airwaves as he has been doing, might be a bit of a good look for the party, but I think it is shuffling chairs around on the Titanic, let's be honest.
Well, thank you so much to Chloe Dobbs, political commentator, for joining us here